You are listening to The Testimonial, a podcast of critical essays bearing witness to the forces that shape our world. We conduct historical autopsies, expose hidden systems, and decode the profound truths within culture, politics, and the seemingly whimsical. Each episode is a deep dive, a forensic investigation. This is the evidence. You are about to hear the testimonial on the masculinity paradox, the crisis of modern manhood. Are men okay?
All right, let's just get right into it. If you open up your phone right now, you'll see that the modern man is basically caught between two totally conflicting scripts. On one side, you've got the soft male. You know the guy. He's probably in a beige sweater, calmly telling you to embrace your vulnerability, to heal your inner child. But then you swipe and bam, you're hit with this wall of fire and iron. Some shirtless dudes screaming about discipline, about forging your body into a weapon. It's this incredible whiplash, two completely different paths, and they're both fighting for the soul of the modern man.
And this cultural confusion, it's not just happening in a vacuum. It's playing out against a really grim backdrop, a silent, devastating crisis. And we can see it in the cold, hard data. Men account for over 3/4, 75% of all suicides. And look, that isn't just a number on a chart. It's a massive red flag, a profound signal of a deep, widespread despair.
And this crisis of despair, well, it's mirrored by a crisis in achievement. You see, men are falling behind in what has become the main path to success in our modern economy, higher education. Right now, they make up less than 40% of all college graduates. And let's be clear, this isn't about who's smarter. It's about engagement. Young men are disconnecting from the very system that's supposed to set them up for the future. And that just pushes them further to the margins, both economically and socially.
So you have to ask, what happens when that sense of purpose and achievement starts to fade? Well, it leads to a profound crisis of connection. It's gotten so bad the U.S. Surgeon General has officially declared an epidemic of loneliness. This is a public health crisis, and it's claiming men as its primary victims. Men are reporting fewer close friendships than ever before. Some people are even calling it a friendship recession. This isolation is a huge vulnerability, and as we're about to see, it's being actively exploited.
So here's the crucial point. The old script for what it meant to be a man, the one that guided generations of men, has been completely shattered. But here's the problem. No clear, agreed-upon replacement has shown up. To really get why and to understand what's rushing in to fill that empty space, we need to conduct a little historical autopsy. For centuries, a man's value was pretty straightforward. It was tied to this very clear, very rigid role, the provider archetype. His battlefield wasn't a literal one. It was the factory floor. It was the office. A man's identity was his paycheck, his ability to be the sole, reliable economic engine for his family. And that stoicism, that emotional restraint, that wasn't seen as a flaw. Oh no, it was a necessary strength, a kind of discipline you needed to handle the pressure. That script, for all its problems, it gave men something really critical, an unquestioned path to respect.
But that model didn't just quietly fade away. It was shattered by a perfect storm of social and economic shocks. Think about it. In the 60s, you get the birth control pill and second-wave feminism, which directly challenged that old family structure. Then, at almost the exact same time, from the 70s onward, deindustrialization and globalization completely wiped out the stable, blue-collar jobs that were the very foundation of that provider identity. The result? A profound vacuum of purpose.
So you have this huge vacuum of purpose, and nature abhors vacuum. Well, so does culture. So what's rushing in to fill this void? What are the new scripts being offered to men? We found there are 3 dominant and frankly deeply flawed solutions on the market today.
So the first proposed solution you see everywhere is the soft male. And on the surface, this feels like a really necessary step forward. It encourages emotional intelligence, it rejects that old-school stoicism. But here's the catch. This really well-intentioned idea has been completely co-opted by a multi-billion-dollar wellness industry. It sells vulnerability back to you as a product, meditation apps, expensive journals, weekend retreats. It teaches men how to feel, but it doesn't really teach them what to do. It talks about the crisis of emotion, but completely ignores the deeper, scarier crisis of utility.
Now, in a direct, almost allergic reaction to that perceived passivity, a second, much more visceral fantasy has exploded onto the scene, the hyper-primitive. This is a defiant performance of absolute control. It's this fantasy of returning to a pure male nature, repackaged for today with extreme discipline, carnivore diets, ice baths, survivalism. It offers a very simple fix for all the confusion of modern life. Your value is clear. Can you take the pain? Can you dominate your environment? It's a really seductive idea, but it often just ends up recreating the very emotional isolation it claims to be solving.
So there you have it, this confusing marketplace for what it means to be a man. You've got the soft male, built on vulnerability, which often feels, well, insufficient. Then you've got the hyper-primitive, built on control, which is almost always isolating. But there's a third, much more insidious force out there that takes bits and pieces of both and mixes them with a powerful poison. We're talking about the manosphere, and its entire operating system is grievance.
You see, the manosphere works like a really effective radicalization pipeline, and it preys on lonely, confused men. It's a simple 4-step funnel. First, it identifies with you. Hey, your problems aren't your fault. Then, it gives you a villain to blame. Feminism has corrupted everything. Next, it offers you a tribe, a brotherhood. You are not alone. And finally, it offers a twisted solution. Reclaim your natural dominance. It is a poisonous antidote that actually weaponizes the very despair it claims it can cure.
So that's the internal crisis, this chaotic marketplace of identities. But how is it all perceived from the outside? Well, the answer reveals a truly devastating trust deficit, and it came to us, of all places, through a viral social media trend.
A simple but really profound question started making the rounds online, posed to women. It was this: you're alone in the woods. Who would you rather run into, a man or a bear? The question went absolutely viral, and the answer was, for many people, a complete shock. Overwhelmingly, the response from women was the bear. Now, let's be clear, this was not a literal risk assessment. Women know a bear is physically dangerous. It was a brutal, gut punch of a commentary on male intent. As one woman put it so starkly, the bear isn't going to rape me. They chose the predictable danger of a wild animal over the unpredictable threat that a certain subset of men represents. It was basically a litmus test that revealed a catastrophic trust deficit.
And this trust deficit, it connects right to the core paradox of patriarchy itself. We often think of it as a system that gives men all the power, but it also puts them in a cage. The feminist thinker Bell Hooks argued that the very first lesson of patriarchal masculinity is to despise anything considered feminine, especially any of those qualities inside yourself. This forces men to cut off parts of their own humanity, empathy, tenderness, vulnerability, leaving them emotionally stunted and alienated from who they could be.
So, if all of these models, the soft one, the hard one, the angry one, if they're all flawed, then where in the world do we go from here? The verdict seems to be that we have to move beyond this broken system entirely and reject the false choices it's trying to sell us.
You see, the current debate traps men in this false choice. You can either be soft or you can be hard. The soft male is emotionally literate, but he's often seen as passive. The hard male is competent, sure, but he's emotionally illiterate. The thing is, both of them are just incomplete caricatures. To choose either one is to buy into the lie that things like strength and vulnerability, or competence and compassion, are opposites. They're not.
So the path forward isn't about picking a side, it's about integrating the best of both. And here's the key. The goal is not to be harmless. Being harmless is just a form of weakness. The goal is to be trustworthy. That is the real challenge. It means integrating the capacity for real strength with the deep compassion and the commitment to never ever use that strength destructively. It's about becoming a whole, reliable human being.
And this requires a whole new architecture of purpose, one built on tangible pillars for the 21st century. First, finding purpose that goes beyond just your economic utility, shifting from just being a provider to being a steward and a mentor. Second, redefining resilience. It's not about rigid stoicism anymore. It's about emotional agility. And third, building real, genuine community as the ultimate antidote to the toxic tribalism we see in online echo chambers.
So, where does this testimony leave us? Well, it leaves us at a crossroads with an invitation. An invitation to stop searching for a pre-written script and to start doing the hard, noble work of becoming an author. The most profound and courageous act available to a man today is to stop searching for a script and to become the author of his own life. To understand that true strength is not the absence of feeling, but the capacity to hold it all, the power and the tenderness, the resilience and the vulnerability, the protector and the nurturer. The goal is not to be a better man, but to become a more complete human being. You have been listening to the testimonial on The Masculinity Paradox, the Crisis of Modern Manhood. Are men okay? If you enjoyed this summary, for the full testimonial, please follow the link in the description or search for the testimonial on your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on social media @The Testimonial for updates and to join the conversation. If you believe a topic deserves a testimony, let us know.